Think about the last financial decision you made today. Did you actively choose UPI as your preferred payment method, or did every app on your phone just push it to the top? When you started your job, did you explicitly opt in to your Provident Fund, or was it simply easier to leave the pre-checked box exactly as it was? In each of these situations, you made what felt like an independent choice, but you were reacting to an environment that someone else carefully engineered. You were guided by a choice architect. This invisible steering was brought to the mainstream in 2008 by economist Richard Thaler and legal scholar Cass Sunstein in their book Nudge. Their premise rests on a simple distinction. Classical economics imagines we are all econs, mythical, hyper-rational calculators who always act in our own best long-term interest. In reality, we are humans. We are busy, easily confused, and highly susceptible to our immediate surroundings. Because we are human, there is no such thing as a truly neutral environment. Even a school cafeteria manager who places salads at eye level and desserts at the back is a choice architect. They are organizing the context in which people decide what to eat and predictably steering the outcome. Every menu you read, every app you download, and every form you sign has to be designed by someone. The question is whether those designs are helping you make better decisions or manipulating you for someone else's gain. Choice architects rely on 4 primary tools. The first and most powerful is the default setting. This is simply deciding what happens if a user takes the path of least resistance and does absolutely nothing. Look at organ donation rates across Europe. In countries where citizens are required to explicitly opt in to become donors, participation hovers around 15%. But in countries where donation is the default and citizens must explicitly opt out, the rates soar to 90%. We see this on a massive scale in India. The Jan Dhan Yojana auto-enrolled citizens into zero-balance bank accounts. By making financial inclusion the default state rather than a required chore, the program opened 400 million accounts without a single legal mandate. The second tool is social norms. We often suffer from pluralistic ignorance. We don't actually know what our peers are doing, but we have an overpowering psychological need to conform to them anyway. Power companies in the US and UK exploited this by adding a single line to monthly electricity bills. Your neighbors use less power than you. That simple peer comparison successfully reduced national energy consumption. No taxes, no fines, just a gentle nudge. The Swachh Bharat campaign applied this exact psychology to public sanitation. By making toilet construction community visible and relying on localized peer pressure, rural sanitation coverage climbed from 39% to over 99% in 5 years. Both defaults and social norms are brutally effective because they bypass our critical thinking entirely. They weaponize our innate laziness and our deep-seated desire to fit in with the crowd.
The third tool is simplification. Often people abandon good choices not because they are unwilling, but simply because the process is exhausting. Every extra step is an opportunity to quit. This flowchart illustrates how India's UPI system revolutionized digital payments. It took a painful 10-step process, requiring IFSC codes and passwords, collapsing it to just 2 clean actions: enter a phone number and a PIN. By clearing that friction, ZUPI processes over 13 billion transactions monthly, becoming the world's highest volume real-time payment system. The final tool is feedback loops. Humans are notoriously bad at weighing long-term consequences against immediate gratification. We need real-time data to correct our behavior in the moment. You experience this when Swiggy displays a bright calorie count right next to a menu item before you order, or when Cred flashes your monthly spend tracking just as you're about to make another purchase. Simplification and feedback loops do not restrict your freedom. They just quietly sweep away the fog and friction, making the architect's preferred outcome the easiest path to walk. Thaler and Sunstein gave this underlying philosophy a specific name: libertarian paternalism. It sounds like a contradiction. It is libertarian because every option remains on the table. You are technically free to choose otherwise. But it is paternalistic because the architect is deliberately designing the room to steer you toward what they believe is best. This framework is taken very seriously at the highest levels of global policy. In 2017, Richard Thaler was awarded the Nobel Prize in Economics for proving exactly how predictable our irrationality really is. As tech companies and governments adopt these tools at scale, critics ask an uncomfortable question. When an algorithm decides what is good for you and nudges you toward it, is that helpful design or is it manipulation? Thaler's defense is straightforward. Since a perfectly neutral environment is impossible, choice architecture has to exist. Deciding not to nudge isn't preserving freedom, it's just leaving choices to random chance. If you are building a product or running a business, you can apply this today. Set the right defaults. Make your desired outcome what happens if the user does nothing. Use social proof as a norm nudge, and violently remove every unnecessary tap and text field in your user interface. If you are a consumer, it's time to start noticing the defaults in your daily life. Pay attention to the pre-ticked travel insurance on flight bookings or the auto-renewing subscriptions that assume you'll forget to cancel. Before you accept any preset option, pause and ask yourself one specific question. Who set this default, and what do they gain from it?